What if your worst mistake is not the end of your story? What if the thing you're most ashamed of is not what defines you? The Bible is not a book about perfect people. It's a book about people who failed, people who ran, people who denied, people who broke trust, and yet, God restored them. Tonight we're looking at 5 people who messed up badly, but God wasn't finished with them. And maybe He's not finished with you either. 1. Samson. Samson was born with purpose, set apart, chosen, anointed with strength. But strength became pride, and pride became compromise. He ignored warning after warning. He played with temptation. He believed he could live carelessly and still carry power. Then one night he woke up and said, "I'll shake myself free like before." But he didn't know the Lord had left him. They captured him, blinded him, chained him. The strongest man alive, grinding grain in darkness. It looked like the end. But in that prison, his hair began to grow again. Not loudly, not instantly, but slowly. Sometimes restoration doesn't begin with power. It begins in brokenness. Samson prayed one final prayer, and God answered. Even after failure, God still listened. But Samson isn't the only one who fell hard. Let's talk about a king. 2. David. David was a man after God's own heart. He defeated giants. He led nations. He wrote songs of worship. But one evening, he stayed home when he should have been at war. He saw Bathsheba. He took her. He tried to cover it up. Lies, manipulation, even murder. This wasn't weakness. This was deliberate sin. And when the prophet confronted him, David didn't defend himself. He broke. He wrote in Psalm 51, "Create in me a clean heart, O God." David didn't lose the throne that day, but he lost something deeper, his peace. And yet, God forgave him. David's story proves something powerful. Your calling can survive your confession. God restores the humble. But what about someone who didn't fall into temptation? What about someone who ran? 3. Jonah. God told Jonah, "Go to Nineveh." Jonah went the opposite direction. Not delayed, not confused, disobedient. He boarded a ship. A storm rose. The sailors panicked, and Jonah knew why. He said, "Throw me overboard." The sea swallowed him. Then a great fish swallowed him. 3 days in darkness. 3 days with nothing but regret. But in the belly of that fish, Jonah prayed, and God gave him a second chance. The same command, the same mission, the same calling. Jonah ran. God pursued. You can't outrun grace. But maybe the most painful failure is when you deny what you love. 4. Peter. Peter said, "Even if everyone else falls away, I won't." Hours later, a servant girl asked, "Do you know him?" Peter said, "I don't."
I don't know who Jesus
3 times.
is.
And then the rooster crowed. The Bible says, Peter went outside and wept bitterly, not because he was caught, but because he knew. He failed the one he loved most. After the resurrection, Jesus met him again, not with anger, but with a question. "Do you love me?" 3 times, 1 for every denial. And then Jesus said, "Feed my sheep." Failure didn't cancel Peter's calling. It refined it. The loudest denier became the boldest preacher. And finally, what if you walked away completely? 5. The Prodigal Son. A son looked at his father and said, "Give me my inheritance." In that culture, that meant, "I wish you were dead." He took the money, wasted it, lost everything. And when famine came, he found himself feeding pigs, hungry, broken, ashamed. He said, "I will go back and say I am no longer worthy." But while he was still far off, the father saw him and ran, not walked, ran. Before apology, before explanation, the father restored him. Robe, ring, celebration. That is what grace looks like. Samson lost his strength. David lost his integrity. Jonah lost his direction. Peter lost his courage. The prodigal lost his inheritance. But none of them lost God. Your mistake may be real. Your regret may be heavy. But your story is not over. If God restored them, He can restore you. Don't let failure write your ending. Let grace do it. And if this reminded you that you're not finished, subscribe. We're building faith that doesn't quit.